Uh, Hello, this is Coach Musa, and today I'm going to take you through on how we can use the Stochastic Relative Strength Index indicator to analyze the market and therefore establish entry points within the market and then trade. Yeah, so we are going to begin from using the Stochastic Relative Strength Index, and then in the subsequent videos, we're going to see how we can combine the stochastic with other indicators. Because remember, the rule of thumb is you don't use one indicator as a standalone indicator in price action. At least you need to use a combination of two or three or more. Yeah. So today specifically, I'm going to talk about how you can trade the Stochastic Relative Strength Index. So how you can use Stochastic Relative Strength Index to identify areas of value or entry points within the market and then uh, trade. So we're going to begin with how we can set the Stochastic Relative Strength Index. We're going to begin by setting it up, then explaining a few features of the Stochastic Relative Strength Index before we can dive into how we can use it to analyze the market. So we're going to begin from this point that if you want, if you want to, just a minute. So if you want to look out for the indicator, right? There is um, there is this part, uh, there is this plus sign here. This is where you tap. So if you want any indicator, this is where you come and tap, right? So let's tap it here, and then you're going to the next part that is going to be displayed is this area here, but your main focus is going to be on indicators because that is what you want specifically. So when you tap on the plus, you tap on the indicator. Then on tapping on the indicator, now I have a list of indicators that I have already put on my favorite. But if it is your first time to look out for indicators to use in price action, you will not see anything on the favorite, right? What you're going to see is this page, right? You're going to see this page, the favorite, technicals, financial, and community scripts. Now you will go straight to this part here, this other part of the technicals, because that is where the indicators are. So it is from the technical that you're now going to identify your indicator and then put it on your favorite list, so that oftentimes when you want to use it, you just find it already listed on your favorite list, right? So we're going to tap on technical. So then we search for stochastic. Now here it is. It's already here because it is already in my favorite. So it is, as you can see, it is on the favorite. Yeah, and it is already starred, meaning it is on the favorite. So once it comes like that, the best thing to on if you want to put it on your favorite, you just tap on the star and you'll see the star background changing to yellow. It will automatically mean that it has already been added excuse me, on the list of on the list of indicators in the favorite. Now once you find out your indicator like this, to add it on the chart, you just have to tap on it once, right? After tapping on it once, then you now come and tap on the exit icon there, right? So it will exit and you see it already added on the chart. Here it is. Now the next thing you're going to do is to set it up, right? You need to make some adjustments, or you need to set it up. Now to set it up, you just tap on the indicator itself. Just tap anywhere within the indicator like I have done. Then you will see this icon popping up, this icon here popping up. Now your interest will be on this other part, which is looking like a gear or a wheel, right? So when you tap on it, that is the setting icon. You're going to come across these three areas: the input, style, and visibility. Now you don't do anything on the visibility. There's no any adjustment you make on the visibility. The only areas that you may make adjustments on will be on the input and then the style. Now, what adjustment do you make on the input? Now, unfortunately, mine, I have already set it up. You see, my K is at 4, my D is at 2, my RSI length is at 9, same applies to stochastic length, right? But let's assume that it was not set the way it is. So what I would do, let me reset it. But okay, just for purposes of saving time, I think this is how you'll adjust them, right? Make sure that your K is 4, D is 2, RSI length is 9, and the same applies to stochastic length. Then after adjusting them the way they are, you're going to tap on the three dotted lines, the three dots. Now, tapping on the three dots gives you permission to save it as your default settings, right? So we shall tap it, for example, here, then you tap on save as default. Then afterwards, you tap on OK, right? Then the next thing, you still come back to the settings, you come and check on the style. Now on the style, basically what you do is you make adjustments um, on the color of the upper band, on the color of the middle band, and then on the color of the lower band. You brand it based on your favorite colors, based on the colors you want it to appear on the chart, on your chart. Then also you brand the color of the K line and then the color of the D line. Now this is my own branding. For you, you can brand it differently. You can choose different colors, but these are my colors that I have chosen. Then the other thing you're going to do is you're going to ensure that if you find this already in the upper band already at 80, the middle band at 50, and then the lower band at 20, you can leave it at that, or still you can adjust it to 90. Then you leave this one the way it is, and then you adjust this to 10. It will depend on how you want to use it, but the most my own settings or my own recommendation will be 80, 50, and then 10. Then after making those adjustments, you come here and save as default, right? So when you tap on, for example, the K line, this K line, if you tap on this color, what is going to appear here is you're going to have a variety of colors from which you can choose, right? Then after, for example, mine is blue, so I've selected blue, and then the next thing you need to do is to adjust the opacity, right? Increase the opacity to 100 so that it is more visible, and then you can as well increase on the thickness. You can adjust on the thickness. If you want it less thick, you can put it on the first thickness level, or you can put it on the second thickness level, or third, depending on how you want it to appear. But mine is the second, right? Then after making that adjustment, you come back, you tap anywhere, and it goes out off, and then you still tap on the D. You also choose the color for yourself. You make adjustment on the opacity and then the thickness. Then you tap anywhere within the chart, within the screen, and then that will be done. Then the upper band also, you can equally adjust the colors. Same applies to the middle band and then the lower band, just like the way we did for the K and the D line. All right, now once you're done, then you tap on the three dots and save as default. Now once that is done, you will tap on OK. You'll come and tap here on OK, so that the settings can be saved. All right, so once I've tapped on OK, now I would assume that my settings are already okay. So this is my stochastic relative strength index. Now on this stochastic relative strength index, what we are seeing here is this dotted line, this dotted upper line is called the upper band. This other dotted green line is called the lower band. That is, those are the colors I chose. Then this other middle one is called the middle band, right? It is at the 50. It is at 50. This other one is at 80, and then this other lower one is at 20, according to the settings there. Now, if you had also set it differently at 90, you will also see it at 90, and this one at 10. But mine is at 80, 50, and then 20. Now, that is done. Now, the other part that we need to do is that you now have to know is how do we interpret this stochastic RSI? Now, the stochastic RSI has basically two lines. The K line, which in this case I have branded it as blue. So you're seeing it running alongside the red line, which is the D line. These are the two lines that gives you a clear interpretation of the market. And once you understand how to interpret them, then you're good to go, because you'll be positioned to trade it. You're positioned to use it for analyzing the market of a given coin, and then you trade it accordingly. Now, What is the essence of this upper band and then the lower band, right? Now, what I need you to know is that the best way of interpreting this stochastic RSI is um, that these two lines tend to move together, right? In fact, they move together. The blue line runs along the red line, whether be it whether be it when they're running upwards or when they're coming downwards. And normally, this stochastic relative strength index has been developed particularly to help traders identify an oversold and an overbought zones within the market, so that it can help them make the right decision uh, in the market, right? And we shall talk a little bit in details as we continue. Now, when the stochastic lines, the blue and the red line is above the upper band. Let's say it is above this line, the 80 line. We shall consider it as an overbought. We shall consider it that the stochastic is within the overbought region. When it goes below the 20%, the 20% line, these are in percentage, remember? So when it goes below the 20% line, what we call the lower band, right? This reading would be interpreted as an oversold region. So these are the two zones. The two zones are the upper area above the upper band, and then the lower area below the lower band. Now the upper area above the upper band is called the overbought zone. Then this other area below the lower band is called the oversold zone or region. Now, what is the implication of you knowing the oversold and overbought region? It helps you to make rightful decision in the market, right? It helps you to really make an informed decision on when to trade and when to be out of the market. You get that, right? So that is what it gives you. Now, when you find a scenario where the two lines are above the upper band, let's say they're already within this region here, sorry, and they're already within this region. Sorry. When they are within this region, it means that particular coin would have been overbought. So there is a likelihood that the market may go down anytime soon, right? So it's just a sort of like a signal that is trying to alert you as a trader to really decide on what to do next, because anytime the market may go against you. If you're a spot trader, definitely you will know that the market will go against you there. So you'll have to wait again until it bounces back. Now, if the two lines are below these lines, are below the lower band, what it implies is that this coin has really been oversold, right? It means that the coin has been oversold. So because of being oversold, the price of that particular coin would have dropped tremendously. And as a trader, not only a sports trader, it when the price of a particular item, be it a coin, be it a commodity, or a stock, drops completely to a certain point, it presents an opportunity for you to buy, isn't it? Because the price is down, is low. Now it is going to present for you an opportunity to buy. Remember, the game is, or the idea is to buy low and sell high. So when the price drops completely or tremendously, you'll see that these two lines will come below the lower band. And once it comes below the lower band, you just know that that particular coin has been oversold. So it is already alerting you or giving you a signal of preparing to enter the market, because the price is already low. So there's a likelihood that the price will begin moving up. So that is how you interpret the stochastic relative strength index and its two lines. Now, How do you trade? How do you trade? How do you trade? Now, before going to how do you trade, I need also to alert you and make you know that the overbought region, when you see the stochastic is within the overbought region, it doesn't necessarily mean that the price will reverse lower immediately. It may take some time, right? It may take some time before it can begin. It can reverse and begin moving down. You get that, right? That is what you need to know. Equally, when this stochastic relative strength index is within or below the lower band, or it is within the oversold region, it doesn't necessarily mean that the market will reverse immediately. It may take still some time before it can reverse and begins moving upward, right? Now, so the only thing that this stochastic relative strength index does is just to give you an opportunity to make an informed decision, um, so that you can trade right, so that you can trade rightly. Okay, now so how do you trade the stochastic relative strength index? Now it is very simple. Once you understand that these two lines move together, the next thing you need to put in mind is that how you can use these two lines to interpret the market as is to interpret the market, right? So that you can establish an entry point or an area of value where you can enter and then take profits, right? Now, before we can talk about how you can trade it, I want us to interpret these two lines, the K and the D line. Now, the K line, or what we call the blue line, normally, um, uh, um, I beg your pardon. Now, the K and the D line normally runs together, but as you can see from your screen, that there are scenarios where the two lines are running upwards, and then there are scenarios where the two lines are running downwards. Like you see here, it is both lines are moving up, and here both lines are coming down, and here you're again seeing it is moving up, and here it is coming down. Now, what is the interpretation of that? Now, what happens is this: in an uptrend, we have two types of markets. There's an uptrend, right? An uptrend is an uptrend where you see the market moving in this manner, right? And then there is a downtrend where you see the market moving in this manner, right? So it is a downtrend. And then there is what we call a ranging market where you really don't see much of an uptrend, right? You didn't see much of an uptrend, neither do you also see much of the downtrend, but rather what you see is more of a market that appears like this, but generally you see that it is moving about certain 2 points, some 2 points that we call a ranging market. So there's just that kind of movement. Now, understanding that or having that at the back of your mind, you realize that when the market is trending upward, right, that is when you see on the stochastic relative strength index, the line also moving, the two lines moving upwards. Once the market is moving downwards or it is in a downtrend, that is also where you see the two lines, the K and the D line, running downwards. Now, that is what you need to know. That is what you need to know. Now, in an uptrend, the blue line runs over or above the D line. That is in an uptrend. The blue line or the K line runs over or above the D line, what we call the red line. Like in this case, you can see that you're having two lines. You're having two lines. The blue line will be running on top of the red line. In a downtrend, the blue line runs below the red line. This is how they will run. This is how they will be moving. So you'll find the blue one is inside and then the red one is out. In an uptrend, the blue one is out and the red one is in. Now, okay, so having understood that, as you can see, You can see it here that the blue line in an uptrend, the blue line is moving above. See, the blue line is running above the red line. Then in a downtrend, we see that the red line is running above the blue line. However, what determines which line running over the other is what we call a crossover. A crossover. A crossover is that point where one line crosses and one line crosses the other and then begins moving below the other, and the other one which was moving below begins moving above the other. That's what a crossover is, right? That is what a crossover is. So what determines one line moving or running above the other is a crossover. And now this drives me to how you can trade or you identify an area of entry or an area of value using the stochastic relative strength index. It is pretty simple. Now, what you need to do is when you want to trade, when you want to analyze and determine an entry point using the stochastic relative strength index, just identify a crossover. Just look out for a crossover. A crossover more especially where the blue line, right? Sorry, a crossover where the blue line which was initially moving down crosses over the red line and begins moving up. And then, you see, in this order. This is what I'm talking about as a crossover. Initially, let's assume that, like in this case here, the blue line is coming down alongside the red line, but then a point is reached where the blue line crosses over the red line, and then they change their manners of movement. Now, in this time, the blue line is running above the red line. In this previous scenario, the red line was running above the blue line. Now, this point here is what we call the crossover. So when you want to analyze and identify an entry point, you look out for this point, a crossover where the blue line has crossed over the red line, and therefore there is this manner of movement, right? So that's how you do that. Now let's check it out. Let's check through. I think we can identify some few crossovers. Let's identify some few crossovers. We can see here there was some crossovers here. We have that crossover. We can see some crossover here also. Some crossover here. We can see some crossover here. Right? This is what we have to look out for. Initially, the blue line is below and the red was up. But after the crossover, the blue is up, the red is down. So we look out for this point. Then after identifying a crossover like that, what do we do next? What do we do next? I'm going to take this example just to explain what we do next. Right? What we do next? We draw what we call a vertical line. So to draw a vertical line or to get a drawing tool, which inclusive is the vertical line, you come on the pencil, right? So when you tap there, I have a number of them already on my favorite. So this is my vertical line. This is my vertical line. So I'll tap on the vertical line there. Then I'll bring it exactly, I'll drag my cursor to this very point of a crossover, and then I release it there. After releasing it there, I have already drawn my vertical line from the point of a crossover. Then I'm going to check through the vertical line on the chart on which candle the vertical line has touched. And in this case, the vertical line has touched a green candle. Now, because it has touched the green candle, I am not going to be on a rush to enter. I am going to wait. I'm going to patiently wait as I check out for the countdown here to see. I'll wait until this candle closes, right? Since it is a green candle, it's a bullish candle. So definitely there's a possibility that still the market is going to go bullish. So what I will do, I'll patiently wait for the countdown for this green candle to close, right? Now, after the green candle closing, like in this case, this is where it has closed. Sorry. This is where it has closed. Okay. Now, after identifying a close of that candle which the vertical line has touched, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look out for my my horizontal ray or horizontal line. Now I'll come back on the pencil. I look out for my horizontal ray, which is here. I can use this or I can use that. Any of them can work. So I'll touch, for example, a horizontal ray. Then I'll bring my cursor right on top of the close of the green candle. Then I release it there. Now the essence of bringing the horizontal ray is you want to identify on your price line where exactly that horizontal ray is going to touch. And indeed, we can see here that this horizontal ray has touched on 0.1690. 0.1690. So meaning that was the closing price. That was the closing price of this green candle that the vertical line has what? Has touched, right? It is the close. It is the close. It is, sorry. It is the close. So it was the closing price, sorry. Just pardon me. I'm seeing a number of lines here. Okay, all right. So I have only one now. Now that it means that this is the price at which this green candle closed. Okay, this is the price at which this green candle closed. And of course, you know it very well that the close of the previous candle becomes the opening of the next candle, irrespective of whether it is a green candle or a red candle. That one you know very well now. So after drawing that line, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to establish this as my entry price. So I will enter at this price, right? You can set this as your entry price. So meaning if you are trading, you could just immediately enter at current price. Or if you want to set it as a preset price, then you can go, for those using the robot, you can go and set this as your preset or first preset buy in price, okay, as your entry price. Then definitely you'll be good to go. So the takeaway for this recording is that one, you can use the stochastic to identify an area of value or an entry point in the market, right? Like we have done. One, identify a crossover where the blue line crosses over the red line and begins moving in that manner of the blue line running over the red line. Then two, draw a vertical line from that point of a crossover and see on which candle the vertical line is going to touch. If it be a green candle, then wait for that green candle to close if they had not yet closed. Then after closing, draw a horizontal ray or horizontal line to just be very sure on where on what the price at which that candle closed is. After drawing, that becomes your entry price. Now, in our next session, I'm going to take you through now how to determine the take profit percentage. This one is just on how to determine an entry point using the stochastic. All right. Hope it has been helpful. See you in the next video.